bodies fall apart as we get older. We get tired and can't think and all. It's totally not necessary. You don't have to do that if you know what to do. Hello and welcome. My name's Shannon Brown. You're here in my kitchen in California. I'm the inventor of phenomenal water and all that, but this video is totally not about phenomenal water. I just wanted to make a video. This morning I woke up and realized that I've obsessed about vitamins, minerals, and especially amino acids and all these things for years and years and years. And the reason why is because as I get older, I realize the importance of these things, because as we get older, it's like when we're young, levels of things are here and just all through our life, they just sort of slide. So if you know what to supplement and how much, you can make a massive impact. In other words, our bodies fall apart as we get older. We get tired and can't think and all. It's totally not necessary. You don't have to do that if you know what to do. And there's a lot of things to do. I mean, a lot of them. So I wanted to make this video about simple vitamin B12. I think we've all heard of B12. You know, we got warm, fuzzy feelings, but it's like, so what, right? Well, I want to tell you just how important that is. First off, years ago, about 40, you know, when your vision starts to go, at about 40, I realized I just didn't see right. So I went to the eye doctor, and after the whole dog and pony show, and then she used this thing where they scan and look at your soul, it was incredibly bright light. She was scanning my macula, which is in the back of your eye, and she came back and said, you have macular degeneration in your left eye. And I mean, that's upsetting, you know, that's a big deal. And she showed me the scan. So basically it's supposed to be flat, and then there was this little right in the middle, right? So you can't deny it, it was there. So went home, what are you gonna do, right? Nerve damage, nerve repair, your macula, all this sort of thing. We came across vitamin B12, learned how to compound it, made my own shots, gave myself massive doses because you can't overdo it. I've been scanned since then. Actually, when I give myself a very large shot of B12, I can kind of feel it in my eyes a couple hours later, and then that goes away, but it seems to work. And like I said, I've been scanned since then and my eyes are great. So I would actually say that with B12, helping your eyes is like a tiny portion of what it does, believe it or not. Here's another example. As people get older, you know, when people get quite a bit older and then they start to get white, they get light skinned. You can just see them from across the room, not just gray hair, but all of a sudden their skin goes pale. One of the main leading reasons for that is vitamin B12 deficiency. I'll explain why. As we get older, of course, our intestinal tract doesn't work and digest as well as it did, and then also we end up consuming less food just because we don't have the caloric need, and cobalamin, which is a mineral, is absorbed through our lower intestine. And so if you're not taking it in and you can't get it, you have a vitamin B12 deficiency, and your blood can't make proper red blood cells. The red blood cells are actually bigger and they just can't function properly, so the blood can't carry oxygen. And that's a problem. You're taking naps, you got no endurance, you just want to sit down all the time, and of course you're pasty white. So if I was older, trust me on this one, if I was pasty white age or anywhere close to it, I'm 48, I'm getting racing stripes, I'm on the way too, I would be taking massive doses, and I'll tell you what a massive dose is in a second. But that's not all. Methylcobalamin, vitamin B12, has been clinically proven to repair nerve damage. So things like peripheral neuropathy, that means that your hands and feet have nerve problems, they hurt. My grandmother used to pour a cold bath before she'd go to bed because she would get up in the middle of the night because her feet would burn while she's sleeping, and she'd go soak her toes or her feet in the cold water. My mother did the same thing. It's peripheral neuropathy. Talk about miserable. Well, guess what? It's a vitamin B12 deficiency, and it's been clinically proven to fix that. People don't know about it. Oh, right? Here's another major thing. Just look up vitamin B12 brain damage, because as we lack vitamin B12, our thinker doesn't think right. So all kinds of, and it can cause permanent brain damage, is a vitamin B12 deficiency. You can supplement it like that. You can go onto Amazon right now and go buy some massive dose vitamin B12, or you can be a maniac like me and compound your own and give yourself a shot. Whatever. So let me tell you how much is enough and all that sort of thing. So let me just break this down real quick. So in a gram, there's 1,000 milligrams. And then if you take 1 milligram, you break that into 1,000 parts. Those are micrograms. Really, really small. So the RDA, recommended daily amount for methylcobalamin or vitamin B12, is something like, I forget exactly, like 16 micrograms, 24, whatever. It's really, really small. You can't overdo it because it's a B vitamin and you simply urinate it out if there's too much. So a massive dose is about 1 milligram or 1,000 micrograms. This morning I was out, so I compounded my vitamin B12, and in one shot I was giving myself 2 milligrams, or that would be 2,000 micrograms. That's a really big shot. So what can happen if you overdo it? Let me tell you a quick story. During my whole macular degeneration thing, when I learned how to compound it, since it's so small, even with a jeweler's scale to try to compound your own B12, it's easy to get the numbers wrong, and I did. And so I made shots for my wife and I, and when we took the shots, basically you just kind of pee pink until noon. In other words, you know, your body's completely saturated and it will get rid of the rest. So obviously I made up several of these shots. I gave some to my parents, and all of them that they took, I asked them, I said, "Do you ever pee pink until noon?" No, nothing. So their bodies absorbed all of it, which is sort of amazing if you think about it. So you can't overdo it. If I was I would take at least 1,000 micrograms a day, which I do. But certainly if I was older, you can amp it up. You can actually buy injectable B12 online, or you simply go on Amazon and it's orally absorbable. So whatever you feel comfortable taking, but you know, your blood is going to carry more oxygen. You're going to have more energy. Your brain's going to work better. Any kind of nerve damage in your fingers, I mean, on and on and on, not to mention your eyes. Hello, that's a big deal. Shameless plug. If you are tired, if you walk upstairs and you can't, you know, get your breath and all that sort of thing, especially if you're older, I'm throwing phenomenal water in there because that's what it does. Acidity in the blood keeps the blood from carrying oxygen. So simply drinking water, and I know older people don't like to drink a lot of water, which you should do exactly the opposite of that. You should be drinking more water when you're older because you run out of alkaline minerals and buffers to buffer that acidity. One of the main reasons for being tired when you're older is acidity. So things like vitamin B12, buffering acidity, and there I go. I just shamelessly plugged Phenomenal in a video where I said I wasn't going to. Anyway, just trying to help. So go get you some B12, and thank you. Glad to share.